verses 11 and 12. Do not participate in the unfruitful deeds of darkness, but rather expose them.
The rapper nowadays do whatever to get some sales. That's why Drake and Lil Yachty be out here painting their nails. Rappers like Playboy Cardi, they be serving Satan as well. First Corinthians, the effeminate, they are going to hell. Well, who gonna apologize? Cause I meant it if I said it. Let your daughter play sexy red and wonder what she headed. Then y'all get shot when your daughters be in middle school and pregnant. And the coaches see it instead of changing, they just accept it. Look at how they feminize all our men. All the gangsters turning gay, seem like that's a part of the plan. They don't show it at first, they wait to accumulate fans. If you wear a dress, you a punk, I'ma keep it a band. Cardi B and Mad Stallion, ooh, they some harlots. I don't care if you get mad, boy, what else I'm supposed to call it? These labels invest millions and make sure these demons charted. Did he a Peter Buff for two? Hey, don't get me started. If it's up, then it's up. If it's up, then it's up. If it's up, then it's up. Ooh, don't get me started. If it's up, then it's up. If it's up, then it's up. If it's up, then it's up. Ooh, don't get me started. If it's up, if it's up. If it's up, then it's up. If it's up, then it's up. Ooh, don't get me started. If it's up, then it's up. If it's up, then it's up. If it's up, then it's up. Ooh, don't get me started. Hey, I hop on songs, start quoting scripture like a preacher. Christians scared they call out mainstream rappers cause they want a feature. You collab with demon artists, but say you a brand new creature. How you a friend of God in the world? We're getting deep, a little dirt, push a murder, talk about killing his own. But claim it's the police oppressing us in all his songs. They gon' say I'm too harsh, like Bryson's off for your tone. They say that when they convicted, but they can't tell me I'm wrong. Ooh, I make it CHH mad, cause I make the fans see who really in it for the bag. Look, what they gon' do? Try to judge me off my past. They gon' try to blackball, but the realest they gon' last. Is it up? Then it's up. If it's up, then it's up. If it's up, then it's up. Ooh, don't get me started. If it's up, then it's up. If it's up, then it's up. If it's up, then it's up. Ooh, don't get me started. If it's up, if it's up, then it's up. If it's up, then it's up. Ooh, don't get me started. If it's up, then it's up. If it's up, then it's up. If it's up, then it's up. Ooh, don't get me started.
The Bible says quite adamantly that we are to have no fellowship with
What's good?
darkness.
Labor Day. Hopefully everybody's having a good Labor Day. Just wanted to follow up on the Kamala disaster. It's of epic proportions. We were talking about Michael Dukakis. We're dating ourselves. It was on X, of course. That's where 99% of my political discussion goes. And we were talking about comparing this Kamala stuff. If you don't know the context, you'll have to look at the live from yesterday. It was a disastrous moment. We're living in one of the more disastrous moments. Will it leak out? I don't know. I mean, I'm almost analyzing it just from what it is. Can the press cover for her? Will Trump be able to capitalize on it? It happened over Labor Day weekend. Will it linger? I think it will, but I don't know. I don't know how that stuff works. Just from a chess move. And I'm going to talk about what Kamala needs to do in response just from a chess move. I'm just analyzing it. Not that I'm hoping Kamala does anything. I'm hoping Kamala actually would be a good president if she won. So don't get me wrong, but I'm not rooting for her. This isn't to give them advice to help them win. It's just interesting, almost like I've been watching the WNBA lately. Caitlin Clark just balling on them just from that standpoint. I just find it interesting. And a lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people are asking about it. Timmy Tim's, Toy Mafia, what's good? What's good? Timmy Tim says Bryson Gray just stopped supporting MAGA because of abortion. I think it was more than that leading up to it. Bryson Gray, I think, was a DeSantis or more of a DeSantis guy than a Trump guy. Bryson Gray, I'm not going to speak for him, but he is Christ first. So I don't even know if it's right to even call him MAGA. He was Christ first and had respect for the MAGA movement, wore the red hat. But if MAGA means supporting Trump, then Bryson was never MAGA. And that's the battle that I'm having too. It would be easy to say I'm not going to rock MAGA anymore because MAGA is a cult, Trump supporting cult. But I think I like the MAGA branding, and Trump doesn't own MAGA. Sorry. Come here. I'm taking the logo from you. As much as my wife calls me crazy, like, how you can't do that. My wife was like, well, you can't take the MAGA mantra. You're just not a nobody, but you're just one person. You can't. Yes, I can. Come here. Get over here. I'm Scorpion, and the MAGA logo. Come here. And I'm taking it. whether you like it or not. And maybe it maybe it doesn't go anywhere, but I'm not letting you all take. So I'm on Bryson's side, Timmy. Even though I'm not even an abortion guy, I'm not even for me personally, I'm pro-life, but I don't think it should be. If you want to share society, you should not be forcing the legislation on everybody. You should be separating into two different countries. So that's where I'm at that. But the Kamala stuff is very interesting to me. So what do you do in this face of this crisis? Do you just let it blow over? That's a legitimate strategy. Let the media cover for you and let it blow over. I think it's very difficult. If you look at the tweet now, we're talking about the aftermath of this tweet. Let me just give a little bit of context if you didn't see it. The tweet now has over 80 million views. Last I looked, over 85 million views on the tweet. Again, does that spill over? This is all curated online. I think that's the pot boiling over. If you look at Kamala's tweets, those tweets don't get nearly anything like 80 million views from her. It's all from Trump with his 90 million, who quote tweeted her multiple times. This is the tweet. I'm not reading it again, but here's the tweet, just in case if you already read it or watched the live yesterday. The tweet now has 87.1 million views. That's out of the normal range. 81 point, and these aren't positive views. None of these views are positive views. There's no one who objectively, maybe you have the Kamala, what do they call her? The Kamala clan, or what were they called? Kamala, I forgot. Remember her? We talked about that way back when she was running. She had they're very mafia-like online. They're very aggressive online. Even they authentically, these aren't good views. That's not. I don't think that's a stretch to say. 87.1 million views. And there's other evidence. So let me talk about the evidence that I say that this is a serious situation. Even if you're not old enough to follow Dukakis, if you don't remember Michael Dukakis, it was in 88, I believe. I was 11 years old. I don't remember. I remember it after that. I wasn't watching that. I kind of remember it at 11, but didn't know, obviously, what happened. Michael Dukakis, you had to be there. You can't just look at there's this infamous photo. It's on the thumbnail, I think, if it went through properly. I put it as the thumbnail. He had this big helmet on, and he tried too hard. Could you imagine Kamala Harris trying to increase her her commander-in-chief bona fides and going into a tank and putting on a helmet and popping her head out? It wouldn't go well. And that's what happened that's basically what she did with that tweet. But that's what happened with Michael Dukakis. It's like you're trying really hard, and that's not even you. You look weird. The helmet's big. And Bush at the time this is pre-internet, but as much as they could, after that, it was done. And politically, historically, people look back at that as one of the moments to look at in what not to do. And that's the era or the moment we are in, even if it doesn't bubble out to the normies. And they got the debate upcoming that, to my knowledge, I will not believe that they're going to debate Trump and Kamala until I see them. But if they do debate, I didn't think Biden was going to debate, but it was a setup. But if they do debate, this is going to come up. So she has to have an answer at some point. Oh, if it doesn't come up, you won't like this live, Trump supporters. You won't like it. If this doesn't come up during the debate and Trump's not scatterbrained talking about this and then that and then this and then that, he needs to stop that. If somebody asks him a question, keep it focused on that question. Don't go over here and over here and over here. Get your zingers out and keep it tied to that. Gosh, he's so annoying by just rambling on in the debate. You can't do that. It's almost like he's like me trying to do a live stream. No, you got to be a little bit more focused. So that's got to be a focus there. It's terrible for her for multiple reasons. Let me go over a couple of them. One of them is the views on the tweet. The other one is I believe this is via Jack Posobiec is who I saw it. Jen Dillon is one of these, staffer types or whatever. There's a leak that came out through Jack Posobiec that, and we'll go over it, that Kamala Harris's brother-in-law allegedly was behind the tweet. Allegedly. So these rumors, and Jack Posobiec has gotten solid information all over the place. Jack Posobiec has been really good on this inside information. I don't know how he gets it, where he gets it from. I mean, I think he was kind of intelligence. I'm not sure for his service, but he's very good at it. He's connected. He's a DC guy. He's connected. And the rumor is Kamala Harris's brother-in-law was behind the tweet in some shape, form, or fashion. And that the tweet did not go through the normal channels, especially since you have someone like Kamala Harris who she's not a candidate you're going to say, let her go on her instinct. That she didn't get propped up like that. No one supported her like that. There's no way that you would let her just tweet something like that without going through the proper channels to say, no, yes, tweak this, too long, or whatever you need to do. So the rumor is the brother-in-law did it. It didn't go through the proper, I don't know her official title, Jen Dillon, but she's basically a campaign person, I believe was with Biden as well. So the leak of that information, to me, looks like it came from who do you think? You have a disaster, and even if they think they can get past the disaster with the media covering up for them and all that, who do you think would leak that it didn't go through the proper channels? This is basic corporate kind of stuff. It would come from allegedly Jen Dillon, wouldn't it? I mean, it would be logical for Jen Dillon to say, let's get this to Posobiec. And Kamala has a serious problem there. It would make a lot of sense for her to say, let's get this to Posobiec and say, I didn't have nothing to do with this. It's a disaster. Even if I think I can clean it up. So leak it out, let it be known. And it's probably true because you wouldn't leak that if it wasn't true. But Kamala has a problem, and to me, she has to fire. Barack Obama didn't have any of that. Barack Obama they are very tight on their processes. I don't remember, I mean, as crazy as it sounds, I don't remember one bad leak. Maybe one, was the IRS one where he was going after Tea Party conservatives, I believe at the time. Maybe that was a leak, I'm not sure. But Barack Obama ran a tight ship. You don't see leaks from him. You don't see leaks from the Clintons. What they do, if you leak, you're done. And that's what she would have to do as well. Here's the tweet from Posobiec. I'll just read the exact quote from him, the insider. He's been right. I've done a lot of his leaked tweets on here. He's been on point on a lot of them. He said Rubio was in the running. I believe Rubio was in the running, even though he didn't get the VP. Jack Posobiec tweeted, hearing it was Tony West's idea for Kamala to do the Arlington post. Jen Dillon had no idea it was coming out, and Walz was completely left out entirely. I don't think Walz was involved with this part of it. It's Jen Dillon. Isn't that very specific for something to leak out? They got names. They didn't just say it wasn't Jen Dillon's idea. They said it was Tony West. So this is the political inside stuff, pointing fingers. The tweet has damn near 90 million views. It's going to end up, by the time the debate comes, it's probably going to end up at 100 million views. There's a leak coming out that says it was her brother-in-law, Tony West. It was her brother-in-law's idea, I believe that's who that is, for Kamala to do the Arlington post, meaning they know it's bad. And then on top of it, somebody's like, I didn't do it. Jen Dillon says, I didn't do that. I ain't do that. And then somehow Walz got involved in it. But the other part of how bad it is Walz can't get involved with it, even though, he has some service because he has his own controversy. So you see, that's proof to me that so I've got not proof, but evidence. I've got multiple lines of evidence here that they're concerned about the situation and whether it will linger on beyond this. If they had already gotten past the debate, it might be less of a problem. It's going to come up in the debate. I mean, it has to. It's the best thing that Trump has right now. I mean, Trump has nothing else. So you can see the problem there. So how do you fix the problem? Mike has, let's look at that before we go to how to fix the problem. Mike has bad knees. Says, sounds like Tony West getting thrown under the bus. Oh, absolutely. So you see the problem with Kamala. That's the leak. This is really bad for Kamala. So she has the bad post. Her team should be in damage control. Instead, there's people throwing each other under the bus to Jack Posobiec. I mean, maybe not directly to him, but it gets to him. So put yourself in Kamala's shoes. Wait, everybody's got to be fired. Why is this? How is this getting leaked out? Everybody's got to be fired. I don't. There's nothing else. That the problem with Kamala is she was artificially propped up, as we all know, and everything was going well, but it was like a balloon. It was like the .com bubble. Late 1990s, you had your baby.com and your toys.com and your any easily searchable term had a .com, and they were going to sell you books, toys, whatever else. And the stock of those was just going up, almost kind of like the AI stuff now, but I'm not saying the AI stuff is necessarily a bubble now, but it was just blowing up like NVIDIA blew up. But it was not just NVIDIA. It was everything. It was every single one of these companies, babysitters and toys and all this. It was all a bubble. It was like people didn't know what was going on with the technology, and the internet was coming up and blowing up. Google had blown up. And I think that was right around, why did it burst? Was it Amazon that made it burst? I forget what happened. One of them went under. And my point is, in the 2000s, poop, all the air came out and it crashed. And that was the danger for Kamala. She got propped up artificially. There's always pros and cons. The con is it wasn't organic. The con is it's not based on her political instincts. The con is it's not based on people who like her or respect her. The staffers don't like her reportedly and stuff like that. So that's how you get leaks and stuff like that, because they don't work for her really. So now you see chink in the first time since she got propped up, we see like a serious problem, and it could be a hot air balloon that's crashing down. It could be it's not based on anything substantial. And now we're figuring out there's a leak, the Titanic. I mean, it's like that. It's even worse than the Titanic. It's like there's a leak on the boat, and now the hole's getting bigger. So you see, she now has to deal with leaks. You can't have that. They're leaking on your brother-in-law? They're doing a leak on your brother-in-law? Is Tony West Kamala's? This is the guy who spoke at the DNC. At the DNC, he had a little speech. It wasn't him. Yeah, I think it was him. Is it Harris? Wait, yeah, Tony West. Tony West. He did the speech at the DNC. Just came across as your normal corny ass dude. Real boring speech. Yeah, like one of those Amber Heard 5 minutes. It's not even a speech. It's 5 minutes. Here's the dude allegedly who did it, or was it behind it.
5 years ago, in my first week at law school, I met a new classmate, Maya Harris. We became
obviously
best
Kamala's
friends,
sister.
But the way Kamala tells the story, we'd already fallen in love by graduation day. And when Maya and I married, I not only gained a life partner I love, a daughter I adore, and a mother-in-law I revered, someone I affectionately called Mother Harris.
Interesting.
I also gained a sister.
You know, and it's interesting how, so he's talking about Kamala's mother. The father never came up. The father has, I talked about this before, the father has what it looks like effectively disowned her. Why? Why did the father disown Kamala? And I'm just going to go off on the tangent here for a second. And then I'm going to get into the details of, this is pretty simple stuff that Kamala should do, I think. The father was pissed about a lot of different things. The father is a true, I don't want to say radical. The father is a true revolutionary type spirit. Kamala is a corporate. See, this is the problem with calling everything socialism. It's all different. I talked to Midwestern Marx. I've talked to people who actually are socialists, Marxists, like really believe this stuff. That's different than Kamala. And then you have Jackson Hinkle and Haas, who I respect out of this world. He had a great debate with Andrew Wilson on Fresh and Fit doing some great work. Those are real ideologues as far as here's how the means of production should be distributed to people and all that kind of stuff. Kamala Harris is a corporate ladder climber. She's not a socialist. So it's just a weird thing to call her. But the father is a true Marxist. So the father doesn't look at his daughter as if she's a socialist. He looks at her like she's a sellout. And the defining line was, and I can relate to this, my parents were born in Jamaica. I was born here. Kamala Harris's father is Jamaican, but the father has heritage beyond that, and so do I. But the father wasn't happy with Kamala Harris. Just goes around and says, basically, there's this clip about her saying that she washed her greens in the bathtub. She's every stereotype. She won't say that she's black, but she's trying to say, oh, I listened to Tupac. I did this. That's why I'm black. And they asked her, I think it was at the Breakfast Club, but I forgot where it was, but they asked her about weed. Yeah, that was the Breakfast Club interview. And they were like, have you ever smoked weed? And she was like, yeah, don't you know, something to the effect of, yeah, don't you know my parents are Jamaican? That's not how Jamaica was a British colony. Jamaicans are kind of divided. The stereotype is, and I'm fine with making jokes and all that, the stereotypes are, you're on the beach, you're on island time, you're smoking weed. That's not the reality. A lot of people and people talk about colonization like it's negative. Obviously, there are some potential negative. There's positives too. My dad was taught in very strict, proper, really solid education based on British structure, proper, really good stuff. They don't like the stereotype of dreads and weed smoking, stinky, mentally kind of gone type of guys playing reggae, listening to reggae type. That's a stereotype that everybody, especially old school Jamaicans, don't rock with. In fact, they ostracize that. So for her, and that's not how she was raised. So for your daughter, when that's not Kamala Harris's father is very, very bright dude, very principled in what his principles are, and against the stereotype of the weed smoking, bobsled joke, 100 jobs having Jamaican. Very much against that. So to see his daughter be like, yeah, I smoke weed. I smoke weed. Don't you know I'm Jamaican? He went on a Jamaican newspaper outlet and basically said, I don't know that heifer. Pretty much. It was even stronger than that. He was like, my ancestors would be ashamed of this thing. And he basically disowned her. So that's her brother-in-law, this corny ass dude. Her father would hate this dude. Guarantee you. Corporate climbing, corporate lawyer. You can see how the tweet comes out. These people are so disconnected from reality. They hate the military because the military basically likes people who are their political enemy. So he knows Kamala's weak on the defense thing, just like Michael Dukakis, half the audience. I'm dating myself. I talked about it before, but Michael Dukakis had a problem with people didn't think he was strong on international affairs. So that's why he tried too hard with the tank thing. Don't try, just be who you are. So he probably is like, you don't have those credentials. Go after Trump here. And she does that terrible tweet. You can see how it all unfolds. So he talks about the mother-in-law, but you're not going to say anything about the daddy. That's for damn sure.
I also gained a sister I cherish, Kamala. Now, Maya, Kamala, and I each pursued different legal careers, but we were motivated by the same values: a belief in equal opportunity, a yearning for fairness, a passion for justice. Values Mother Harris taught those two little girls, values that powered Kamala's public service from the very beginning. You know, one of Kamala's very first cases in the district attorney's office, it involved a woman, an innocent woman, wrongfully arrested in a police raid. It was a Friday afternoon, and the courthouse was shutting down for the weekend. And look, most prosecutors, they would have gone home and dealt with the matter the following Monday. But not Kamala. You see, my sister-in-law knew that if the judge didn't see this woman that afternoon, she'd spend the entire weekend in jail. And Kamala, she wondered, does this woman work weekends? Would she lose her job? Does she have young kids at home?
So that's him. That's basically him there, that cornball. Christian, what's good? Christian has a $5 super chat. Says, dang, I keep messing the starts of your lives. Happy Labor Day. Happy Labor Day, Christian. Speaking of Jamaica, the Hey Ma skits on Living Color always made me laugh. I love those skits. And Living Color is one of my favorite skits, favorite shows. And that's where, because growing up, a lot of people knew I was Jamaican. I think it was around 6th grade when the Living Color was big. What a great skit show. We don't even have that. I guess TikTok has kind of taken over that. It's just, I kind of miss those days, man. Gosh, that was such a good show in Living Color. Thank you for the $5 super chat, Christian. Everybody have a great Labor Day. Yeah, you had the skits, and they made fun of all different types of people. I don't think Jewish people got made fun of, though. But I'm just not even trying to go down that route. But I'm sure I think of who was made fun of. But they made fun of white, black, all that kind of stuff. And Jamaicans, that's where everybody would be like, Jamaicans had 5 different jobs or whatever. It was funny, great skit. And I knew just Jamaicans growing up, and I never heard a Jamaican get offended by the In Living Color skits. Everyone that I remember laughed at that. So it's not like you can't laugh at this stuff, but Kamala's actually running for office and then portraying the stereotypes is just weird. And that's why I think she got disowned. So yeah, thanks, Christian. So you see the backdrop there. You could see that kind of corny ass dude being behind it. He wouldn't be named if he wasn't behind it. That wouldn't make sense. Well, I guess you could as informational warfare, because what is he gonna if he wasn't behind it or really didn't have much to do with it, he can't really fight back. But I don't know. What it shows to me is that Kamala doesn't control her team. That's what it shows to me. Because I don't even think Trump has had leaks from his campaign, has he? I don't think he's had leaks like that. He had leaks when he was in office, but that's because the whole administrative state was against him. But from his campaign, I don't think he had nothing like this, of course. So what can Kamala do? I think it's very simple. Joe Biden has been on vacation. So I don't blame Joe. I don't blame Joe at all, because they took it from Joe. They're laughing about it, making jokes about it. Nancy Pelosi was on with Bill Maher, cracking up on it. She didn't initiate the jokes, but Bill Maher did. We all know. And he's been off. I mean, according to the Republican National Committee, that's the RNC biased, of course, Biden had spent 40 days of his presidency out of office, whatever that is. Basically saying, if you're at work and you put that out of office symbol on there, they said 40%. Could you imagine having a job? How many of you work in an office job? It doesn't matter what job. Any job you've got, 40% of the time, somebody goes to holler at you and you see that purple line that says, this nigga's out of office. They would have just said, you're out of office permanently. Don't come back. Running for president. He's never had a real job in his life. Joe Biden has never had a real job in his life. Was he the lifeguard when he had the kids rubbing on his leg? Maybe that was the only real job he had. He's never had a real job in his life. He's been retreating to Delaware 40% of the time, according to the RNC. The Washington Post, who's biased the other way, said it's 250. It's sorry, I hit my cord there. It's 256 vacation days the other way. That's the best case scenario from the Washington Post. So that's not better either. How many days, time off days do people get from their work? 15 days and maybe like a few sick days. This dude had 256 days. All the presidents are taking. Trump did too. A lot of vacations. I don't know how much, how many days off did Trump take. To see what they say on Trump, just for some perspective. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is, I think Kamala, to really be effective here, she has to be humble, and I think she's going to need to throw Joe Biden under the bus. So they say Trump took about 380 days on personal trips. That's a different phrasing. 250 days was spent at properties he owned, but I don't know. What does that mean? All this stuff is biased, but if you look at that, then they say Trump took about the same amount. And I would expect Trump to take a lot of days if he won. I mean, he's 80 years old. So that's why I say you need energy. You need a Carrie Lake, Vivek, even though I'm not for women commander-in-chief, men got to step up. And I'm not for Zionists, but non-Zionists got to step up. You need younger people to really do this job without taking. I mean, is it too much to ask that you take less than 100 days off? I don't know, but they'll do whatever. I mean, whatever your boss allows, you'll do. If your boss allows you to take 40% of the days off and the checks keep coming, then you're going to take 40% of the days off. But my point is, Kamala might, depending on how this blows up or how bad this is, she might need to throw Joe Biden under the bus. Just completely. He got taken over. She was a part of it. Jill doesn't like her. I don't think Joe likes her either. We know Jill hates her. And how do you do that? I think Kamala should release statements like she is the commander-in-chief and force that. How would that look? She should come out and say, I should have been there. Forget about the politics. I'm not talking about the politics anymore. I'm talking about my ownership in this and how to continue further. Basically, 180. But you don't have to really do a 180. You don't even really have to apologize. Apologize might look weak. You don't need to apologize. What I'm going to say is, and she can look presidential, get the suit right, and do it in front of the flags or looking like you're the commander-in-chief and say, here's my statement, and I'm going to do a press conference. I should have been there. So what that says is, because Joe Biden wasn't there, I'm talking about during the anniversary that just happened of Kabul, is I should have been there. And that is a tacit diss at Joe Biden. It forces Joe Biden to answer questions of, well, Kamala said she should have been there, then obviously you should have been there. And that's not dissing. Now, you do a press conference, I think she should take questions, and obviously they're going to ask, should Joe Biden have been there? And I think Kamala Harris should say, yeah, we should have been there. I'm going to speak for myself, but yeah, I think we should have been there. And here's what I'm going to throw out as an offer to the Gold Star families. They absolutely destroyed. Is this going to happen? Obviously not. I'm saying what should happen to help her. I'm going to put this out to the Gold Star families. I'll make it public. I'll make the discussions public. They had very choice words for me. I'm running to be commander-in-chief of the Army. And that means to lead when mistakes happen, when Gold Star families are mad and have a right to be mad after their loved ones are gone, I'm going to do it publicly, and I'm not going to have much to say other than to give them the forum they can say whatever they need to say. That's the least I could do. And she would do a public Zoom or I don't know what in person, and let them say whatever they need to say to her. Doesn't matter what topic, doesn't matter what they say, and take it. That would make her look like a commander-in-chief to me. That's what she should do. I think that's what Carrie Lake would do. If Carrie Lake, and she would never make a mistake like this. She runs a much better ship. I think Carrie Lake, if she happened to make that mistake, you could see Carrie Lake doing exactly what I just told you. She's not a in-the-box corporate type politician in how she responds to things like this. I think she would do it on the stage and say, you guys say what you need to say. Because it's the families, it's not the press and all that. So I think that's the way that if it bubbles up, she could handle it and offer that before the debate. So when it comes to the debate, Trump doesn't really have anything there's nothing really Trump, there's no ammo for Trump there. Trump could say, well, what is he going to say? Kamala would say, well, I owned up to I should have been there. I talked to the Gold Star families. I heard their concerns. And here's what my plan is, or something like that, to make sure that fall doesn't happen again. That's what I would like to see. I'm not like to see, but I think that's what she would need to do to overcome it. And let me know what you think. Let's look at the comments here, see how people are feeling on this Labor Day. I assume Jamaicans hustle. That's how Jamaicans interpret it. Like almost owned it. Like, yeah, we like to hustle. I'm a Jamaican. People who are parents are Jamaican, born here, often call born Jamaicans. There's actually a great group named Born Jamaicans. But yeah, that's how I took it. Even as a young person, like. It's not, it's like I talked about yesterday with the Jewish tropes. What are the evil Jewish tropes? They're good with money. They protect their ethno-state. I mean, they acquire power. I wish that was the born Jamaican or Jamaican evil anti-Jamaican tropes. So what's the Jamaican trope? That you've got 5 different jobs? I mean, I guess the negative thing is you make minimum wage in all 5 of them or something like that, but it means you're willing to work, you're willing to hustle. A trope of Mexicans. I've worked with Mexicans and different, Mexicans, I don't know what, Latinos, and they work their ass. I loved working with them in every single position I worked with. They worked their ass off. So when I take a very harsh, and I agree with Nick and the Groypers, even legal immigration moratorium on all immigration, that is not against immigrants. My mantra is attacking or challenging. I don't like attacking because people twist that into violence. I am peace. Challenging power. I'm not challenging the immigrants. The immigrants coming here are looking to advance. They're not coming here with evil intent. Now, I know there's those aren't the ones, obviously they shouldn't be here. So I'm not looking to go after your neighbor, immigrant, all that kind of stuff. It's more about what's America first. And they weren't immigrants that I worked with, I don't think. I'm not sure, but everybody knew you're basically Mexicans. They worked their ass off. They worked their ass off. I had respect for that. My dad, in his jobs, I'm being dead serious. He was late to work once in all his years of working. One time. Because of a horrible snowstorm. He's still, obviously, when that's the time, always talk about that. When there was a bad snowstorm and he was late to work. It's like he didn't even call off. Now, he used his time off and all that. He accumulated so many time off and all that. But take pride in your job. Welfare. Are you crazy? The way that I was raised, we would rather the worst case scenario than take money from the government. So I do have a problem. Let me I'm already retracting. If the immigrants are coming here and I've seen some of this complaining about free hotel stays, I have a serious problem with you. So maybe that goes against my mantra of challenging power, but yeah, we got problems. Get the hell up out of here. The immigrants that came here, the Polish, Italian, Irish, the Italians were treated like trash when they came here. Some people thought they were treated as bad or worse than the blacks. That's how bad the Italians were treated. They weren't given no handouts, no welfare, no hotel stays, no $25,000 for a home, none of that nonsense. So that's a whole nother problem too. I think Mike Has Bad Knees brought that up in the previous live. So I'm just going through the comments now. Let's see what people adds. Mike Has Bad Knees. I saw Hotep Jesus. I'm a big fan. I haven't watched the live in a minute for him, but as Hotep Jesus says, the guy has a Democrat accent. I can't. They are so funny, man. Hotep Jesus and Uncle Hotep, man, they crack me up, man. They cracking me up, man. They know how to phrase stuff. Ken Hotep is hilarious, man. That's the homie. I haven't chatted with him in a minute. I haven't caught his live in a minute. I think he got struck or something, but he's back. Man, they are so funny, man. In a way that is better than just saying the corporate, way. Hotep Jesus says this guy has a Democrat accent. I'm stealing that for sure. Because we all know what that means. You can say I have a Democrat accent, but because you know my policies, it doesn't fit my positions. Screwed up. Oh, you're talking about abortion still? Trump needs to just stop talking about abortion. My take on abortion is Trump, why is he talking about it? I don't understand the purpose of it. It's not helping him. So if somebody comes to Trump and says, well, would you sign a federal bill to ban abortion? The answer would be, I've told you a million times, it's up to the state. If you got beef with it, go back to the state. But let's talk about why are the Democrats, so you go back on, Trump is the one that taught in the, was it The Art of the Deal or was it a different one? Taught about Ray Cohen, who was a different topic, but always be on the attack. So you don't even need to say that. If they ask about that, maybe you don't even say, I said, bring it back to the states. Don't even say that. So they ask Trump and they say, Trump, would you sign a bill? Even J.D. Vance, would Trump sign a bill? J.D. Vance doesn't have this dog in him, though. Would you sign a bill to ban abortion or whatever, be a pro-life bill if it was passed in Congress? Why does the Democrat National Convention have a taco truck outside where they're unliving fetuses? Can you answer that for me? That's what I want to know. What's the policy position to bring a taco truck and have 25 fetuses to celebrate it? Like, you have a work event and you bring in a taco truck that has tacos and maybe a dessert and you maybe have a burger option. The DNC held an event and their taco truck was to snip males, to snip them, to give them the snip, and then to unlive fetuses as they celebrated their convention inside. What's the policy with that? What kind of ideology is that? Is that demon worship? You tell me that, CNN. And I'm not even. It's better. Don't even answer it. That's what Trump of 2016. Actually, he walked it back. But Trump of 2016, I believe he said he wanted the death penalty. I believe he supported that. Some type of prison or something time for people, the doctors, I think, that would practice it. He made that mistake because he didn't know much about the topic. He didn't really mean to say that, I don't think, but that was a hardcore stance, and he walked it back after the primary, I believe. But he should be on the offense. That would give you your press. Did you hear what Trump said? Trump would, either they don't talk about the abortion issue, which is fine with you, or they talk about the taco truck outside, or they bring in a semi truck outside just to make sure they have enough room to unlive as many fetuses as possible, which is celebrated inside the convention with people telling their story about the great time I unlived my fetus. They had women in the convention telling their stories about how great it was that they were able to unlive their fetus. So either you don't talk about the abortion or you talk about the way that Trump set the frame. That's what Trump should be doing. I don't understand what he's doing now. But he's been given a gift. His campaign was flailing, struggling, and it still is. I mean, he's talking about legalizing weed. I'm a libertarian type of person, so I do disagree with we got friend of the show, Cassandra McDonald, and others who are Nick Fuentes and them who are like, nah, you got to ban weed. That's not a big point of contention. That's not going to be, I'm not even replying really to them when they say that, because it's like, that's not a big, I'm more on their side. If you want to ban weed, that's fine. I'm more on that type of authoritarian side. They're my type of authoritarians. Let's just say that. But even though my position is the government should not be able to tell me what I do with a plant. That's just flat out my philosophy. But that's not the point. Why is Trump talking about weed? Who asked his... Tim Pool said it great. Tim Pool said it great. Trump is debating against himself. Who is he debating against? Nobody asked his opinion on weed legalization. What? And even if they did, who cares? That's not a big topic. Stick to anything that activates the white working male. Legalizing weed does not do that. So he's completely off topic. Steve Bannon is trying to get out of jail early because he's probably seen all this. He's like, I had enough of this nonsense. There is 0% chance Steve Bannon supports Donald Trump truth socialing about weed legalization. Off message, off topic, doesn't energize the base, doesn't bring anybody to the tent. And who cares about this bringing people to the tent if you don't have a base? So Trump has to get off of that kind of stuff, is just sidetracking. Just completely off topic. Let's take looking at the comments here. Pete Keown is coming up again, man. He's come up a lot, man. He's very. I haven't seen a stream from him in a minute, but he's great. And we did that Rumble with him a while back. I think I clipped one clip from it, but I haven't clipped up the kind of the good parts of it. I do want to. Yeah, Pete has some of the best. Pete is well thought out. Well thought out. Pete right now he's against the Groyper War and all that. He's not a big fan of Nick, but his takes are legitimate. I mean, his concerns and takes are legitimate. He's well thought out. You're not going to say, oh, Pete has some whack take. That's not going to, well, you won't hear that from me. So that's all. I wanted to go over the Kamala stuff. I do have some other stuff. Friend of the show, Cyan, was asking about Trump sentencing. Great friend of the show, Cyan. So I'm doing some research on that. I want to make sure I have I'm not a lawyer, so you get into some legal stuff with that. The topic is, let me bring up the tweet, actually. Let me just bring it up and just off the cuff talk about it a little bit. But I'm going to have to do like a research segment on it, because this is really a serious, I think to me it's too serious to kind of not joke around with. But friend of the show, Cyan, says, so the question is, and a subject for a video of yours, will NYC state sentence Trump to prison this month? Will the right protest? Will there be violent incidents, false flags? Both. How will it affect his support polls, election, if any combo occurs? So that is a big thing. And I haven't talked about it a lot. I haven't gotten into the details of the Trump sentencing, where are we at with that at this point. So the Trump sentencing date is been pushed back. It was July 11th, I believe. It's pushed back now to September 18th. So right now, the only case that means anything right now is everything else won't happen until after the election. So it means something, but the only case that has something that will be going down before the election for sure, I think it's the only case that will have something going down, is the New York, this is the business falsification records case. That's the only case that will have something going down before September 18th. So what's going on with the case? SCOTUS ruled on the immunity conversation, which I've commented on, which I haven't heard. I don't know, maybe I did hear one person talk about. I haven't heard enough people talk about that the SCOTUS ruling on the immunity was absolutely wrong, and it was not good for Trump. It's not good for presidents, not good for the country, it was not good for Trump. Because they're allowing the court system to make this arbitrary decision between what's a private act and an official act. What do you mean? Everything that a president does is official and private. They're trying to get her reelected. They're worried about their legacy. That makes no sense. It makes zero sense to try to parse out, I'm the president, or I'm running for, well, these are acts for when you're president. I'm the president, and I do this act to say, well, that one was an official act, or that one was an official act. You can't do that. People argue, well, it's an official act if you do it, and you only could have done it if you were president. No, that doesn't make sense. You could do something that you could only do as a president, and you could have in mind 50%, 100%, 10%, 2%. This helps my legacy. This helps my reelection. This helps my party. Every decision is a mixture of that. There is no way to parse out an official act and a private act. And the only way you would do, and the reason I'm bringing that up is that's the only thing, really the only substantive thing happening before the September 18th sentencing. Judge Merchan said basically by September 16th, he's going to decide on what to do based on that Supreme Court ruling. That's why it got pushed back. So he's got to look and say, we didn't take this into account leading up into the trial. So we're going to know before the 18th, we're going to know if Trump's going to be, in my opinion, this is my opinion now, there's a lot of different scenarios. If they don't push the date back again, Alvin Bragg and the district attorney is not even challenging these motions. They're leaving it up to the judge. They have not challenged the, I have to look at the exact motion, but they haven't challenged the motion, I believe it was adjournment. I have to double check that. They haven't even challenged it. They're basically leaving it up to the judge. So what that means is if September 16th comes just 2 days before the sentencing and the date's not pushed back, or the case could be dismissed at any time. I don't think that's going to happen. If the September 18th date is not pushed back by the 16th, then in my opinion, Trump is going to be sentenced to jail. That's just my opinion. Does that mean he's going to go to jail? I don't think so. I think there's going to be scenarios where he's sentenced to jail, but bail, or I don't know. There's other scenarios to hamper him all the way up until November. And then the judge can say, well, I did sentence him to time or whatever. But I don't think he could be held. He could be held for a day or something like that. So, and that would be a kind of a mark on where they're going. I don't see, if they're not going to try to hold him at least for a little bit or sentence him to jail time, which is wild for not a repeat offender, this white collar crime that there's no substance to. Let's not forget that. There's no substance to the crime to begin with. And then we've got conflicts of interest with the judge and his daughter. So you see there's a lot there. If they don't take this opportunity to push it back, then there's no other reason to not push it back other than you want a spectacle. And what that looks like, house arrest, I don't know, but it's going to be something there. So we're going to see chaos if that's not pushed back. If that date's not pushed back again, we will see chaos. And the political atmosphere matters. If, say, Kamala can't rebound from this or it gets worse, it can get worse. It highlights Tim Walz. Tim Walz was at the Minnesota State Fair, and I love looking. I used to live out there. I've been to the Minnesota State Fair 3 times, I think. So whenever you see him at the fair is set up the exact same way every single year, basically. The booths are all pretty much in the exact same thing. I saw him in that dairy. I knew exactly where that location is. They have these amazing tasting, like ice cream malts or whatever they call them. Oh, they're just I would always get the raspberry. It's so good. But they were there and they asked him about the hostages in Gaza, and he didn't answer the question. So that makes him not look like, the whole ticket doesn't look like their commander in chief ready. And that's on top of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris fumbling the ball. So you see how this domino effect could happen, and that could affect Judge Juan Merchan, political pressure on him from the Obamas, Clintons, or whoever, deep state that we can't even name, administrative state, for him to do something to help Kamala. It's possible. At this point, I agreed with everybody that technically all this stuff kind of helps Trump, but we need secession because we can't get to this point. But if Trump is actually jailed, I don't know if that helps Trump. I think that's a whole different thing. So we'll see. Mike has Beanie says, I know her team won't see this, but I wouldn't even want any good advice reaching her team. I thought about that. I thought about that myself. If why would I give advice? But the thing is, she would never do the advice. I'm actually not giving her advice. I'm just saying this is what I would do. Just fun to talk about. I mean, that's what I do with Trump all the time. I mean, I've been railing on Trump, and I will continue to I will continue to rail against Trump and if he's failing. But this is a Kamala one. But I feel you on that. Mike has bad knees says legalizing weed is where the majority of his base sit. I don't think that resonates. I'm thinking about your Butler, your East Palestine, just a normal white male worker. Do they care about legalizing weed? I don't think they care about it. That's off the message. Even though I agree with legalizing weed, it's just not. It's not. I agree with his position on leaving abortion up to the states. What I disagree with is the way he's handling it. I mean, to talk about that on Truth. So his Truth Social should be, I don't know his base, but Trump sycophants, really. And I don't mean that in a negative way in this conversation. That's his website. For him to go on his website and to talk about reproductive rights is just asinine. His website does not largely agree with the term. I don't even know what the term, so he says, I'm going to be good for reproductive rights. He goes on his website and says, basically, I agree with Florida legalizing weed. That's not, the Truth Social base is not, even if they don't disagree with it, it doesn't rally them. So let me tell you this, Mike has bad needs. Let's say his base, maybe his base would agree more leaning on, okay, legalize it. What's the problem? I don't know if that's the case. It doesn't rally his base. It's like throwing, I don't know, a piece of plastic on the fire. Is it helping the fire? No. So why throw the police? You want to keep the fire burning of your base. You need your base hyped. You need your base excited. Once the fire is burning, then you can go get your s'mores and your things to burn on. You can get your popcorn. They got the little things you can put popcorn in and pop popcorn over the fire. Then you can do that. If you don't have the base burning, I don't need you looking for Latino rappers. The base isn't there with you. You got a whole movement of people saying you're not anti-war enough, you're not anti-immigration enough, and you've got never Trumpers running your campaign. The base is not excited. Legalizing weed does not get the base excited. So let me phrase it like that. I think that's harder to refute. You could refute and say, well, maybe the base does like legalizing weed. Okay, maybe that's true. I don't know the exact numbers. I will strongly say it does not excite. The discussion of legalizing weed was not a part of 2016. It wasn't the reason why Michael Moore called Donald Trump the political Molotov cocktail. That's what he needs to be in. That's the lane he needs to be in. He doesn't never get outside of that lane. So here's the other problem with it. Mike and everybody else. Here's the other problem with it. Trump has talked about abortion, reproductive rights, legalizing weed. He hasn't talked about Pavel Durov being arrested in France. He hasn't talked about the UK riots, which is right in the wheelhouse of illegal immigration, globalism, That's what Trump used to talk about, globalism. Remember? He used to talk about that stuff. So you say, well, that's France, that's the UK. Well, I'm here to tell you, Butler, wherever, US, this immigration issue, this free speech issue, it's a globalist thing. That's why they're doing this stuff in France. It's going to happen here. Trump hasn't talked about Brazil going at Elon. I haven't seen it. Somebody tell me. I haven't seen anything about it. He talked about Steve Bannon being jailed once. Once that I saw in an interview. He did no proactive things. He's doing a J6. I don't know if it already happened or not. A J6, kind of letting them use his Mar-a-Lago for a J6 to raise money for J6ers. They asked him to come speak. He said, no, I'm not speaking. What? Why? You see my problem here? Even if the legalizing weed is good for him, these are other issues that are more important. Did I play that clip that I pulled the clip from Trump and I was like, where is this Trump? This is Trump from, I was like, where is this Trump? This is Trump from, if you go on YouTube and kind of search Trump UN, I'm just going back through like Trump's old speeches. This is what he used to, well, this is when he was president, so that is a little bit different. But he talked about globalism before. And this was in 2018, I believe. And he talks about globalism. So this was even after he was president. I just love this. This is the Trump if you want to know why I talked positively about Trump. I mean, a lot of people might, because I'm very harsh on him. I'm very harsh on him because this Trump does not exist anymore.
Americans know that in a world where others seek conquest and domination, our nation must be strong in wealth, in might, and in spirit. That is why the United States vigorously defends the traditions and customs that have made us who we are.
That's nationalism. He's speaking to the UN, all the countries, the representatives. That's nationalism, to say, I'm speaking to you all, and let me make sure that you all understand. It's America first.
Americans know that in a world where others seek conquest and domination,
America knows in a world where all you MFers that purport to be our allies even are trying to dominate us. Pavel Durov gets arrested. Why? Because many Americans, when you sign up for Nick's website, cozy.tv, to comment, you have to sign up through Telegram. You can't comment and you can't be in his chat unless you sign up for Telegram. They're trying to shut down these avenues that people are using as workarounds. That's an attack on America. France is supposed to be an ally. Where are you, Trump, to talk about these things?
our nation must be strong in wealth, in might, and in spirit. That is why the United States vigorously defends the traditions and customs that have made us who we are. Like my beloved country, each nation represented in this hall has a cherished history, culture, and heritage.
And so he's saying it like, I'm nationalist, but then he says, you all have your own countries too. And he's basically saying it in an aspect like, I'm still okay with working with you guys. You guys have your own interest. We talked about Shinzo Abe, who got offed. And that's what Trump liked about him. Like, he was for Japan. He was a nationalist leader for Japan. And Trump's like, I'm a nationalist leader for America. We both understood that, but we can work on stuff as long as it works for both of us. So he's setting the tone as, I'm a nationalist and you all should be nationalists too. I have no problem with that. It's not like I'm trying to be aggressive against you guys.
That is worth defending and celebrating, and which gives us our singular potential and strength. The free world must embrace its national foundations. It must not attempt to erase them or replace them. Looking around and all over this large, magnificent planet, the truth is plain to see. If you want freedom, take pride in your country. If you want democracy, hold on to your sovereignty. And if you want peace, love your nation. Wise leaders always put the good of their own people and their own country first. The future does not belong to globalists. The future belongs to patriots.
And he wasn't afraid of that. Globalist has this connotation that the ADL and others, I think it's on the ADL website, that they say that's a dog whistle for certain people. I don't care. Here's the whistle. If I say that the future doesn't belong to globalists and you get offended, then me and you had a problem to begin with in the beginning. That's Donald Trump. The 2024 Trump that we have right now doesn't say this stuff.
The future belongs to sovereign and independent nations who protect their citizens, respect their neighbors, and honor the differences that make each country special and unique.
Hey, NBC News.
And that is a clip. It's just an amazing speech. That speech was written by Stephen Miller, a Zionist Jew. Well, so what? I don't care. I don't know. Somebody tell me. I don't know the backstory. How did Stephen Miller, back in 2016, through that time frame, just wrote banger after banger after banger speeches. I mean, it's almost like Kanye dropping banger after banger and after banger from, when he blew up. It's just like any time he just banger, nationalist. Amazing speeches. So Steve Bannon and Stephen Miller's still around. He's not writing the speeches now. I think his son is, or it's whack. His speeches are whack now. So I think it was the combination, almost like you look at a great football team. Who was Belichick? Belichick was the coach, and who was the coordinator? And I don't even watch this anymore. They had the black defensive dude, the big guy. He was good, and he had all these people around him. It was the team of people. It wasn't just Belichick. So it wasn't just Trump. It wasn't just Bannon. It was Bannon's influence. It's like the mix of people. Bannon's influence, maybe with Corey Lewandowski. I don't know exactly what. I think it was more Bannon. The speechwriters are so important because I don't even know if Trump fully understood what he was reading. I mean, how do you reconcile where he is now? Steve Bannon, Stephen Miller, Donald Trump, banger, in front of the UN, at NATO, inaugural speech. I mean, these are all the great speeches that we play over. All these great speeches, written in part, guided by those people. And I think Steve Bannon is the one. Steve Bannon is the one that helps put it all together, in my opinion. Because he's the one not afraid to tell people to go kick rocks. He's the one that's not afraid to tell people this doesn't work, that works. So I think we got to get that energy back. Steve Bannon's obviously locked up. So who's the next? I mean, you got to have bench strength. You absolutely have to have people who you rock with. I played this clip. This was Bannon. Bannon was behind. Let's look at how Trump, this ties into what I was talking about. Let's look how Kamala has a potential crisis to handle. This is a worse crisis that Trump handled with Bannon. Let's look at how they handled it. I posted a long clip. I can't play this whole clip. I just was listening to it and I was like, I can't clip it any shorter. If you want to watch it, watch it. If you don't. Here's a flashback to crisis management from Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon, in October of 2016, was behind, in part, the scenes of Donald Trump holding a pre-debate press conference with all of Bill Clinton's rape accusers. This was after the Access Hollywood tape broke. This is the grab him by the pussy. Basically, the locker room talk is what I think it is, but people kind of describe it as. He's talking to Billy Blanks, is it? Billy, I forgot his name. The Billy, whatever his name was, tape. And he's talking to him, Billy Bush, and he's talking to him, and he said, was Billy Blanks that that workout guy? Oh my gosh. Yep. Billy Blanks was that black workout guy. I'm not gonna sidetrack. I confused Billy Bush with Billy Blanks. That's old school. So look up Billy Blanks. If you're my age, you'll know who he was. He was like the black Richard Simmons, but I don't think he was gay, but it was the same type of thing with martial arts. But so the Billy Bush, he's talking to Billy Bush, and he's like, I don't know if Trump knows he's on the mic or whatever. He's like, sometimes you just gotta grab him by the pussy. I've heard way worse in locker rooms. I mean, it's not, and obviously Trump won women. I said this down here. I think I put it in 50% of white women voted for Trump after the Access Hollywood. After he said, you know what, sometimes you gotta grab him by the pussy or whatever he said, 53% of white women voted for Trump. This Trump is a different entity. And how did Bannon decide to handle it? Bannon said, you're a populist nationalist. You attack globalists. You paint Hillary Clinton as a globalist corporate shill, and you're there for the working man. This is how you do it, and nobody cares.
He says, what's your percentage? And I've told him from the day I've taken this job on and thing, you have 100% metaphysical certitude that you will win if you just stick to this populist nationalist message and hang her as the representatives of the elite. We hang that around.
So Pavel Durov gets arrested in France. Hang that on Kamala Harris. Donald Trump should be like, that's supposed to be our ally, our NATO ally in France. Arresting a dude for what? There was no investigation open. This doesn't even make any sense. Kamala Harris is a part of that globalist agenda. So when she talks about handing out money, what she wants to do is hand out money to her illegals. They are the federal government foot soldiers. And you see that they're letting them in, giving them hotels. This isn't immigrants coming in, working hard, and they want to hand out, they want to let them vote. They want to give them hotel stays. They want to give them homes. Same type of globalist agenda in the UK you see how it all ties in? That's the message. So Bannon said, this is after the Access Hollywood tape. Bannon's like, Rights Prevents is like, I'm giving up. What are we going to do? He said, grab him by the pussy. It's over. Previs, basically, he's a weasel type of guy. That's not surprising. Oh, it's over. It's over. Let's close up shop. Bannon says, no, stick to the message. That has nothing to do with why Trump is here. If it's something that kind of hurt that image, maybe that would hurt, but it doesn't hurt. Stick to the message.
He says, what's your percentage? And I've told him from the day I've taken this job on and thing, you have 100% metaphysical certitude that you will win if you just stick to this populist nationalist message and hang her as the representatives of the elite. We hang that around her, that she represents the elite.
What does abortion have to do with this? You're off message. 2024 is different than 2016. So, but the message should stick and it should apply in the modern times. So when he goes that's why I have a problem with, and I said he did terrible in the debate with Joe Biden, because he didn't come in with this in mind. He didn't have, this is my overarching attack on Biden, and each topic I show how it comes back to him being pro-globalist.
He says, what's your percentage? And I've told him from the day I've taken this job on and thing, you have 100% metaphysical certitude that you will win if you just stick to this populist nationalist message and hang her as the representatives of the elite. We hang that around her, that she represents the elite, you represent the people, you're a populist, and we hammer.
And the whole her not showing up to the anniversary of Kabul fits right in here. She's a globalist. She wants UN soldiers doing stuff. She wants illegals to be the soldiers. She doesn't give a damn. That's why she was pro. Trump can't even talk about the therapeutic, medical therapeutic, because he supported it. That's why they supported. I think Trump did talk about it from the standpoint he would bring everybody back who was released because they didn't want to take it. But so that's a good statement there. But he can tie all of that into this recent controversy.
You're going to win. I don't care if you're 16 down. It doesn't matter. The key number.
Bannon said, don't look at the polls. Bannon came in late in 2016. I think he joined them officially August of 2016. And he said, the polls say he's 16% down. I don't care. The grab him by the pussy. That was October. I don't care. Stick to this message and you win 100%.
Is 70% of the people think America.
That's not Latino speaking Spanish. I'm not attacking Latino speaking Spanish. I'm attacking Trump for not sticking to the message, to sticking to the mantra.
America's in decline. You're going to return America to her former glory. Comes to me, he says, what do you think? I said 100%. He goes, 100% what? I said, 100%, you got this. It's a metaphysical certitude lock. He goes, knock off with the 100%. He goes, I got to hear your real number. I go, it's 100%. And he goes, I said, listen, they don't care. This is locker room talk. They don't care about vulgarity or anything like that. They care about they're losing their jobs. They're losing their country. They see their country going away from them. They don't have anything to pass down to the kids. That's what they care about. We're actually doing real prep. And that day we're up in the 26th floor conference room, and it's Friday afternoon about 2 o'clock, and I'm sitting there going, you know, this is we're closing. We're still losing, but we've closed. You know, we're like 12 points down, or 10, or 16, whatever thing you take in mid-August. We were way down. We've been closing it ever since, and so we're competitive. And all of a sudden, Hope Hicks shows up outside the glass thing, and she's giving me the signal. And
so I'm just going to stick to this message here. The kids. So if you want to know, and I'm going to end on this, and I'll be out here in a second. If you want to know the problem I have with Trump, you hear what he said here. They don't care about that.
You represent the people, you're a populist, and we hammer, you're going to win. I don't care if you're 16 down. It doesn't matter. The key number is 70% of the people think America's in decline. You're going to return America to her former glory. Comes to me, he says, what do you think? I said 100%. He goes, 100% what? I said 100%.
What he means by 100% is Priebus is asking Bannon, after the grab him by the pussy, what's the chances of Trump winning? So he said 100%. And Reince Priebus is like, stop playing around. This is serious. What do you think the chances that he wins? And Bannon says, if he sticks to the message, it's 100%.
You got this. It's a metaphysical certitude lock. He goes, knock off with the 100%. He goes, I got to hear your real number. I go, it's 100%. And he goes, I said, listen, they don't care. This is locker room talk. They don't care about vulgarity or anything like that. They care about they're losing their jobs. They're losing their country. They see their country going away from them. They don't have anything to pass down to the kids. That's what they care about. We're actually doing real.
So that's the part. And then you hear Trump do this. So this is Trump from mid-August, a couple weeks ago. This is his take now.
But basically, we're going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to get the energy prices down almost immediately.
Drill, baby, drill is off message. You got to tie it into that message. So drill, baby, drill is some old Republican nonsense that doesn't mean anything if you don't tie it into what Bannon was talking about. And Trump has not done that.
And we're going to close the border, and we're going to get the crooked ones out, the bad ones out, and we're going to let a lot of people come in because we need more people.
What is he talking about? He's off message, guys. That 100% that Steve Bannon was talking about goes down. I don't know what it is, 50, 60, 25. This is off the message. He says we're gonna lock down the border. And then he basically only the criminals. Wait, what? They're basically all criminals. What? Why even distinguishing?
Let a lot of people come in.
We're gonna let a lot of people come in. What? You're off message.
A lot of people come in because we need more. Because we need more.
So Kamala, this is destroying Trump. This is real. And then Kamala comes and makes that unforced error. Sometimes you have to let your opponent just flail away. It's not like Trump was on a roll and she had to try and it's not even like people were questioning her openly about her commander in chief. They just knew that that was a problem. What an unforced error. Trump is making huge mistakes here. This is awful.
And we're going to let a lot of people come in because we need more people, especially with AI coming and all of the different things. And the farmers need, everybody needs. But we're going to make sure that they're not.
He's working for Silicon Valley. When he says AI, he's talking about AI with Twitter and X and Zuckerberg and Open. All these companies, Open, the one, ChatGPT, all of them are in California, Silicon guys. So you notice all of them are trying to kind of go towards Trump, and Trump saying, I'm going to let a lot of them in because the Silicon Valley needs them. That's not the message.
Because we need more people, especially with AI coming and all of the different things.
So all the Trump supporters can cope all they want. Even if Trump wins, I don't support that. So why would that resonate with me? If it resonates for you and you vote Trump because you're scared of Kamala or whatever, I'm not even against you. I just don't understand why you would think my position is off. I don't even know what's your take, that the position is right, but if you can't say it, I don't know what your take is. This is awful.
Especially with AI coming and all of the different things, and the farmers need, everybody needs. But we're going to make sure that
that's a Tim Scott, Mitt Romney, Mitch McConnell, the farmers. Nancy Pelosi said that. Nancy Pelosi said the farmers need them. That's a Nancy Pelosi take.
Not murderers, killers, drug dealers, and the kind of people that we have largely coming in right now.
So people go after Nick, and Nick is nothing in the Groyper War is about that country over there. It's about ending immigration, all legal and illegal, both done. Moratorium, at least for a little while, but just moratorium. Stop. We don't know what's going on. This is craziness.
Okay.
Mr. President.
He's talking about inflation. You would think, if you're not following the politics, you think, inflation would be something everybody sees the prices. If you don't tie it in to the working class versus Kamala globalists, it's a waste of time. Everything has to be tied into that. Mike Has Bad Knees says he doesn't disagree with the points. I just think for his base, it doesn't matter. I think it matters. I think it matters for the excitement level of his base. Most of them are just as unthinking as the left. I think the base, Trump's base has fractured to the ones that are equally as unthinking as the left, and then the ones that are like, this doesn't work for me. You can't have that. The fracture is too big there to me. Barton Bell, a friend of the show, jumped in. They let you grab him by, Billy Blanks is Ty Bo. I know there's people, we all old up in the chat, talk about Billy Blanks. These Democrats are so thick, they don't know how to cut their enemy. Grab them by the thing, the thing. Trump's like, do we have to Donald Trump would see this like, do we really need to relive the Access Hollywood tape? Yeah, we do. We actually do. He keeps trying to tie inflation to energy costs. That is so boring, and it doesn't resonate. It's not attacking we got to be against and it's hard for him to do that because he hired a lot of globalists. He hired Bolton, a neocon. He said Nikki Haley has room for his campaign, but it's politics. He'll have to lie. He has to lie about being against the globalists at this point. I didn't see, so Philip said I didn't see that video. Yeah, a lot of people aren't seeing that, of him wanting to let criminal. Well, criminal aliens. Yeah, you're right. That's a good way to phrase it, Philip. Philip says I didn't see that video of him wanting to let in criminal aliens. But I think he wouldn't say that because he's saying, yeah, you're right. With the farming, he really kind of does want them in. Yeah, that's a shocking video, and there's a lot of problematic videos like that. So maybe I need to do a better job of highlighting those. I mean, I talked about the Spanish-speaking one, but that one's harder for people to understand why it's problematic. That one with the illegals is easier. So he did do a press conference at the border, Arizona. I mean, it was largely good, but none of it, and he had the victims of these illegals. So he's still focusing on the illegals who are the murderers, the rapists. Bruh, that's too tight of a. Of course they should be deported. He's not. Trump's deportation status he's talking about the murderers, rapists. That's the ones he's talking about. He's not talking about everyone. So he's not even really talking about a mass deportation. So he's still too soft even on immigration. Yeah, 2020 was tough. 2020 was tough. We're still recovering from that. But I think loyalty is, and I'll try to end on a positive note. I think what Nick is doing, Nick loves Trump and I like Trump, but I'm way more harsh on Trump than Nick. I just use Nick as an example of that's loyalty. The loyalty is I want you to do better. You don't have the right people around you, so let me help you. And Trump might be listening to that a little bit. So that's kind of the good side of it. Hopefully everybody enjoys their Labor Day. I gotta mow the lawn, so I'm gonna celebrate Labor Day by mowing the lawn. I did see that hotel workers were going on strike, I believe. So I don't know what union it was. I have to look that up. But I support workers. I don't know what union it is, but the workers themselves. Hey, do what you got to do. But everybody have a good. I'm gonna grill. I think we were gonna do brats today, but in Colorado, it's hard to find good brats, believe it or not. In Minnesota, it was not. So I don't know if I want to do brats if it's not like the high quality ones. I don't know if you've seen that there's some really great meat shops in Minnesota that they'll put gummy bears, believe it or not, in the brats. We got snake skin. Oh, there was one in Fort Collins, but it's kind of far from me. We're not going to go all the way there. It's closed today, probably. I forgot about that one. I should have told my wife. Yeah, we could have went up there, made a trip. But we had one with snake. We had a snake brat. I think it was a rattlesnake brat. It didn't really taste like much. They put, gummy bears in them. That wasn't that bad, actually. Just weird ones like that, but really well made. Jessica Mai, what's up? Caught me live, but I'm out right now. But great to see you. Everybody enjoy the rest of the day. I'm out. Peace.